morning and welcome. Patriot Radio News Hour, Joe and Jason on this Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. I know Christmas right around the corner. We're going to be closed next Monday and Tuesday, and then closed again the following Monday and Tuesday for Christmas and New Year's. But don't worry, allamericangold.com is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just hit that shop button and you can buy what you need there. If you need to call us, 800-951-0592. We're going to have limited hours. It's just how it's going to be. It's holiday time. I know this week a lot of you are either heading out of town or you've got out-of-town guests coming in town. You know, tomorrow my youngest son gets into town. My mom gets into town later in the week. Joey, who's going to be joining us here today, he's coming into town. So everyone's got a lot going on. But if you leave a message, somebody will call you back the next time that we're in the office. It's going to be a pretty quiet week when it comes to economic data. I think probably the biggest thing out there, Bank of Japan. We'll get all the highlights there tomorrow. Of course, we know about the issues, and you think we've got problems at debt auctions. Nothing close to what Japan is going through. We've got durable goods, some other things that lesser economic data points last week. Jay Powell was as dovish could be. Not only are we done raising rates, to be fair, he said that, if something changes, I guess we could. But the baseline scenario is no more rate hikes, and looked like, based on dot plots, rate cuts coming in 2024. And then Friday, John Williams, the New York Federal Reserve's head, he kind of, did his best Pinocchio and just, with the tough talk, if you will. But again, I don't think anybody's buying it, but that's kind of what they've been doing all along. They'll send one guy out that talks real nice, and the next guy comes out and says, oh no, we can be tough here. And then they send the nice one and the tough one. Back and forth like a yo-yo, because really at the end of the day, they don't really want you to know. They don't want any of us to know what really is going on out there. But this is why you get a guy like Joey on your team. If you've got a 401k from 3 jobs ago, and it's still sitting there, because a lot of companies, they do allow for this. Oh, yeah, well, you can leave it here. Some don't, but some do. You know why? Those 401ks that you've left, they charge you extra fees for leaving it there. Of course, they don't tell you that, but that's exactly what's happened. Or you got an IRA and no one's really communicating or talking to you. Roll it over with Joey. You're going to be in the know, and he's one of those guys where, hey, we don't just throw you in something and then forget about it and never change it. You guys, they're always looking at it. And Joey, we're getting ready for 2024. I mean, 2022, not a very good year for stocks. 2023, here at the end, turned out to be, an okay year. I mean, obviously better, the NASDAQ than the S&P, a little better than the Dow. But what about 2024? We keep thinking 2024 is going to be one of those really crazy years.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if I could predict the future, I'd be on the beach in Florida. But our idea going into 2024, there is a chance for a mild recession beginning of the year. But we just want to make sure that as we're going into the new year, that our clients are properly allocated for their risk tolerance and making sure that we're in alignment with their goals that we're trying to achieve this year. It's very, very important. We're not taking a ton of risk and putting all our money on black at a roulette table, but we're making sure that we're putting our eggs in different baskets so that whatever does happen going into next year or in 2024, our clients are going to be just fine. Their wealth will be preserved, and they'll be seeing some gains. But that does not happen if you're not working with someone that you trust and can work alongside. I remember in 2022, all of our clients wanting to pull out all of their investments. Now we're at 2023, going into 2024, all of them have had a return on their account. It is very, very important we take the emotion out of your financial plan. It's the reason why people got burned in 2008. It's the reason why they get burned in 2022. It's the reason why they got burned in the dot-com bubble. If you had been disciplined and you worked with someone you could trust, you never would have ended up losing money in the long run. And it's very important when you segment dollars and you save for retirement that you have a nest egg of money that you can utilize at all times if something bad goes wrong in your life. We know there's going to be a curveball. We need to make sure you have funds set aside to combat that, so at the end of the day, you're not having to pull out of your 401ks prematurely before retirement and pay a 10% penalty. There's so many people that have so many different accounts. It's pretty often that we as Americans have 5 or 6 different 401ks, just us moving around in our career. We need to make sure that you have access to all of your accounts, and let's put it all in one place. 1, so you're not paying fees to 10 different companies, but 2, to save yourself some legwork. There's no reason to have to log into 10 different accounts. And we'll kind of dive into that in the break. I can hear the commercials coming on.
We'll be right back with more. Stay with us. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason. We got Joey on the line with us. We'll be right back. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason on this Monday. And again, it's holidays are here. We're in the throes of holiday season, right? Just about everybody out there either is getting ready to go somewhere or has got out-of-town people coming in. So it's going to be a short week. We're going to be here every day, but don't be surprised if people are getting out a little early this week. We are closed next Monday and Tuesday, and we're closed the following Monday and Tuesday. If you go to allamericangold.com, you can order there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you need to get a hold of us and we're not here, just leave us a message, and somebody will call you back the next time that we're in the office. But we have my son Joey with us. He's our financial expert from Northwestern Mutual. You've heard me talk about the difference between Northwestern Mutual and these other places. The biggest thing for people to know, and it's a big difference. Northwestern Mutual is not a bank. That's really important to know, because we know whatever's going to happen when this next bubble bursts, right? We don't know when. You know, Joey talked about, hey, there could be a mild recession in the first quarter. It could be, I don't know, a regular recession. It could be a terrible recession. It could be a soft landing, right? It could be, it could be any number of things. But you heard him talk about, hey, when the bus comes, right? If you got the wrong guy, right, you're going to want to pull all of your money out. And of course that makes sense, because you're watching your stuff get hammered. Have the right guy, and they're going to protect you on the downside. And when the upside comes around, you're going to be better off. I mean, that's just how you want to do it. That's how everybody wants to do it. And of course, we know the situation that's going on with banks out there and emergency lending and all the other stuff that they're doing. But there's going to be a price to pay eventually. But, Joey, you brought up a great point. It's just a different world. When they first came up with the 401k, most people don't know this. It was the early 80s. And you know why they created it? Most people don't know this. They created the 401k because they were like, well, we're looking at Social Security and we're looking at pensions, and This was going to be a way for people to supplement those two things. Of course, now, right, pensions are long gone, and now people are being forced. Your 401k has to do way more than it was ever intended to do. And this is why, Joey was talking about the other thing. Not only does it got to do more, most people don't work for the same company for 20, 30, 40 years. Most people end up working for 4, 5, 6 different companies. And Joey, at the end of the day, a lot of people, they don't just have 1 or 2 401ks. They can have 5 or 6.
Yeah, we see this all the time. And then when we have 5 or 6 different accounts, 90% of the time, we have no idea what we've even saved in that or how much we've allocated for our retirement planning. And this is such a major, important part of everybody's financial plan, especially as we enter into retirement, because it's something that you're always told to set and forget it. And I think we take that term a little too literally. It's not like we set it and we don't look at it for another 30 years. This is something we should be looking at every quarter. And when you have someone in your corner that you get to chat with 3 or 4 times a year, these things are always going to be on your mind, and you're always going to be on top of it, as well as having other people like my team and I give you advice and help you structure these portfolios. Take the time out of your day and manage that and rebalance it every quarter for you. And a lot of the time is just making sure we can get everything into one place. At the end of the day, 10% on $1 million is way more than 10% on $50,000. A lot of people are missing out on a lot of returns because they have so many different accounts with different 401k management companies, all invested a little bit differently. We need to make sure we've got a clear strategy for all of your dollars, because these are all pieces of the puzzle that come together. And not only that, but after we help out the 401ks and we make you more efficient in everything you're currently doing, how do we add on? What are some different strategies to help you get from A to B more efficiently? With Social Security coming in, with our 401k coming in, how much more money monthly do we need in retirement to live our daily life? Or how do we preserve your wealth so that the next generation behind you leave something behind and truly create some generational wealth, and do it in a very tax-efficient manner? Most people do a great job of saving. But when you retire and you walk away, the tax side of things are a mess. People are overliving their income, or people are creating wealth, but they're not passing it on to their loved ones in a tax-efficient manner, losing out on hundreds and thousands of dollars. I know it's the holidays. I know it's Christmas season. I'm going to spend a ton of time with my family. I'm excited to go back, a ton of time with my friends. But this is the time of the year that we all have time off from work, where you and the wife can really sit down and actually have a conversation. If you haven't reached out to me, if there's something on your mind, you have 401k accounts, you're going into retirement, now's the time to reach out. As when times are slow for you, we can make time to chat for an hour and 30 minutes and get an introduction going. I think that's very important that we do this before the new year. So if you haven't reached out, or you've been wanting to reach out, my personal cell is 602-909-9048. Again, that's 602-909-9048. I urge everyone to reach out to me before the new year. Let's have a conversation and let's get the ball rolling on some things so that when 2024 comes around, you've got a game plan and you know what's going on in your life and what we need to do to help you get from A to B.
Yeah, and especially the multiple 401k holders. Let's just give you the benefit of the doubt that you're not getting whacked on fees, but you're paying 1% to this guy, 1% to this guy, 1% to this guy, right? That's 3%. That, oh wait, I got another one. Oh, there's another 1%. That's 4%. Getting it all in one place is something where a lot of times you can save money just that way, because all of it's 1% plus some fees. It's 1% plus, we got an administrative fee and that fee and this fee. Well, at the end of the day, you're like, well, it's the same pile of money. I'm only paying 1%, but it's all the other little administrative fees and all these other things. It's incredible how much money you're losing by having multiple accounts across the board. And then the other thing I heard Joey kind of saying was, hey, for some people that have done a really good job of saving, a lot of you're just being too risky. You're setting yourself up for the potential to all of a sudden go from, hey, I'm in a really good spot, to I'm not in such a good spot, and those are things to look at as well.
Yeah, those are especially some things to be looking at, because retirement's going to be 30 years long. You retire at 65, you live till 95. Listen, we got to make sure you have 30 years of cash saved up. One, your accounts are being preserved, but two, they're generating income. You're getting dividends. You're getting monthly income from these things. It's very important that you're able to battle the storms of the market that are going to be coming in when you're retired. We think 2008's bad. We think COVID's bad. Well, imagine how bad those things are when you're no longer earning an income. People that don't have an advisor or someone in their corner are going to be very emotional when they're investing without an income. You need to make sure you have a plan in place. So when these bad times do happen, you've got different levers and pulleys that you can pull from. It is super important that we have some diversification here and that we take a lot of risk off the table for you. And really just make sure you're sound and honestly bulletproof when it is you do decide to retire and live that life you deserve to have.
There you have it. That's my son Joey, 602-909-9048. We won't have him on for a few weeks, but like he said, hey, I know it's holiday time, but you're off work. Schedule a call, get the ball rolling. 602-909-9048. Joey, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everyone. Let's have a great week and spend some time with friends and family.
There you have it. And we'll have Joey on after the new year next year. Like we said, Jason, early on, not going to be a lot of data this week. There's a few things, will be interesting what happens with the Bank of Japan tomorrow. One big piece of news out here, Apple is saying that they're having a problem across the board here, not only with China and iPhones, but now they're pausing the sale. They said starting today of Apple Watch Series 9 and Apple Watch Ultra 2 in the United States later this week. So if that's one of your gifts, like I'm going to do the Apple Watch thing, you better go get it done today, maybe tomorrow, but later this week. They didn't give an exact date. Wait, let's see. The Watch Series 9, Apple Watch 2, December 21st, if you want to do it online. December 24th, so Christmas Eve, if you're doing it in the store. The reason, Jason, apparently they're in a patent dispute with a medical technology company, and for Apple to, Apple's always in a suit with patents. But for this kind of action, kind of gives me the thing that Apple's not going to be able to buy their way out of this one.
Also makes me start thinking of COVID and contact tracing and, how they're mixing the technology with knowing about every person's health situation, and sounds like they put something in there that they didn't have full clearance on, Joe. So might be a good thing. Maybe this is going to slow down some of the crazy stuff we've been seeing the last few years. If that's what it is. I'm okay with it, Joe. Plus, I don't have an iPhone.
You know what's so funny is I love. Okay, all right. We're gonna do it, but we're not gonna do it till Christmas Eve, right? Okay, we're gonna sell as much as we can, as fast as we can, and of course, obviously, the website. I'm assuming on the 21st, so like, okay, we can't get it to your house on Christmas after that, so I guess we'll take it down then. But they're not gonna take it down.
It's a business decision, Joe, obviously. So when they stop selling them and the sales go down, whoever they're having to deal with on this patent, they're going to see the sales drop off. And they're like, look, here's our number that you didn't want. Now the number's going to go down to nothing if you don't take the offer. It's just, it was a Trump art of the deal, right? Walk away, they don't take the deal.
Right.
That's all it is. That's what this is, Joe.
We're
You'll be selling them in January.
We're going to sell every stinking one of them we possibly can. Speaking of selling, man. When we get back, how popular has gold become? From the days of the tinfoil helmet wearer to now Costco saying, man, we can't keep them in stock. We'll be back. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason, Patriot News Hour on this Monday. Quick look here. Not surprised, kind of a boring day. That's okay. We'll take boring days. The Dow's up 60. The S&P's up 20. The Nasdaq's up 50. Gold's up $2. Silver, silver's down 3 cents here, 23.85. Remember, diversification is the key. Not having all your eggs in one basket. Don't forget about why refi up to 10.25% return, not correlated to the stock market. Guess what else? Why refi doesn't care who the president is either. They don't care. Don't care what the Fed say. They don't care if one Fed governor says X and the other one says Y, and they play all those little games and propaganda and all that. They don't care. And it is as if it wasn't already good enough. They've now increased your rate of return for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and 4 year. If you go 5 years, you get 10.25%. 1 year now you get 6.5%, and every year higher you get more. Fixed rate. You turn your income on, you can turn it off. You do whatever you want, compounded. They don't care. No fees. You always got all of your principal back. If for something happened, you're like, man, I just got to have my money today. I know I said 5 years, but I've got to have it today. You always got your principal, all of it. No questions. Now, guess what? Now, yeah, you're going to keep some of that interest as well. That's how good of a company they really are. Check them out, 888-Y-REFI-24. Or just go to investyrrefi.com if you'd like to check them out. I know some people, they like to check them out online, but really to get your questions answered, because you're like, how can they pay that much? How can I get that great of a rate of return? They'll explain it all to you. And once they do, you're going to be like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Yep. Now I get it. Now I understand. 888-Y-REFI-24. But before the break, because, 2024 is here. It's right around the corner. And fiscal year for the federal government, we're already in 2024. And we talked last week about silver and what silver's set up for. By the way, silver $50 still on sale. $205 a roll. By 25 rolls or more, $200. We got silver eagles on sale. I also got $20 gold pieces on sale. $20 gold pieces today save $50. You heard me right, $50. $22.75, $2,275 at 800-951-0592. But we talked about supply and demand. Supply dwindling in silver, supply dwindling in gold. When we look at gold, most people don't know this, but China's the largest gold producer in the world. As more people get educated, a lot of people probably still think it's South Africa. You know, if you went onto the street, I wonder, Jason, if we went on the street and asked people, the average person out there, what country produces the most gold in the world today, I wonder how many would get it right. My guess is not very many.
No, there's always been a lack of education when it comes to gold. Which is why Eric and then you and then me joining you, this is why we do these radio shows, is to, the guy driving around day to day doing his job, he tunes in and you learn a little bit, right? There's a lack of information, so most people have very little information about this, Joe.
So 25 years ago, China barely even registered when it came to gold. South Africa was a huge supplier of gold. But why does it matter? Well, it matters a lot. Because China's the number one producer. By the way, they're not even producing 400 metric tons a year. Just so you know, just to give you an idea. Because they don't export any of it. So most of the other gold-producing nations, they'll ship it around. Right? They'll send it out of the country. Whether it's to refineries in Switzerland, whether it's to the London Metals Exchange or to the COMEX in the United States. Maybe it's for jewelry guys, right? Big wholesale jewelers, wherever they may be. Not China. It never leaves the country. On top of that, they're the largest importer of gold in the world. Matter of fact, China all by itself has about 1,500 metric tons between what it produces and what it imports, which is about half of the total mine supply in the world. Here's the other part, though. Now their central bank, they're adding a couple of hundred, right, 250 metric tons, right? They're now taking more than half of all the gold. India, the second largest gold consumer in the world. I bet most people would think India was the largest. They're the second biggest. And they don't really produce hardly any, an insignificant amount of gold gets produced in India. They just, I guess luck of the draw, right? They didn't get lucky. They didn't get gold mines in India. Well, they're taking over 1,000 metric tons, and now their central bank has been buying gold, right? Almost India and China, almost all by themselves, is taking up almost all the gold being mined in the world by themselves. Then Australia, the United States, South Africa is way down the list now. But why I bring this up, I always used to tell the story about when I met Eric and great guy, loved him, but man, he's a wacko. Right? I was out there, I'm buying tech stocks in the 90s, right? I was telling people, Jason, I remember a conversation with my brothers, and I'm like, yeah, the NASDAQ's going to take out the Dow, right? The NASDAQ's going to take, of course, I didn't really understand how it worked, right? Anytime a big NASDAQ stock, take Apple, once they get big enough, they just put them on the Dow, right, to make sure that doesn't happen. But gold was the crazy, we're talking about the holidays. That was the crazy aunt, the crazy uncle. Oh, that was just grandpa. And grandpa, grandpa's old. Keeps talking about the Constitution and sound money, right? He's just old. He doesn't get us, as we're on our phones and all this stuff. And every year, gold seems like it gets more popular and more popular and more popular. News out of Costco. How much gold did Costco sell in a single quarter? And what does that mean for where gold and silver are going to be headed in the future? That's coming up next. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour. $20 gold pieces on sale today, $2,275. Costco, when they have them, they're selling 1 ounce bars. And I get for Costco, they're like, oh, well, that's easy, right? It's simple. They're really cheap. And I shouldn't. Of course, they're not cheap, right? They're well over $2,000. But they're the closest thing in a physical form that you can buy closest to the spot price. Without a doubt, it's not even close. It's a 1 ounce gold bar. And actually, that's not true. You can buy, a 400 ounce bar, a kilo bar. You can buy it even, some of them you can buy for $1, not even $1 over spot if you've got, about $700,000 to spare. But neither here nor there. You don't really think about this. So here's what they did. They said that in their earnings call last week, the quarter that ended September the 30th, okay, so don't think about it. They're letting us know about what happened 3 months ago. That Costco said they sold over 100 million ounces of gold. And they're not talking about jewelry. Of gold bars. By the way, they didn't even put them for sale until September. And the quarter ended in September. So they sold over $100 million worth of gold in 30 days.
And right, that was 100. You did it right the second time. $100 million in gold. So I'm thinking 40 million ounces, right?
Oh yeah. Sorry. When I say ounces, yeah, $100 million in gold sales in less than 30, and they kept selling out. He goes. Every time we put them up, they sold out within the hour. Here's the other thing. You only could buy 2 ounces. Now, I wonder if Costco was smart. I bet you somebody at Costco said, hey, by the way, do you know that if someone bought 5 ounces and then went to go sell them, they'd be 1099? Right. That's one of the things you always need to know buy and sell. You always got to ask, well, what happens when I go to sell? Well, unfortunately, pre-1933 gold is considered a collectible by our government. You can decide why. I think I know why. I've got to have a loophole for the elite out there. Everything else I think is bullion. Well, bullion, anything over 10 grand, you go to sell back 1099s. But, Jason, it's amazing to think. What if Costco could have had these things in stock every day? How much would they have sold? How much could they have sold? And what does this say about the country and their feelings about gold? I think this is one of the things, we say it all the time. Best in class, right? Apple's the best in class. Right? When it comes to Walmart, best in class. Amazon, best in class. Costco, best in class. They know. Right? They know, hey, wait a minute. You want to drive some revenue? And now, granted, they know, hey, we're not going to make a lot of money. But you guys want to drive some revenue? Let's put gold on the website. You can't get it in stores. So people are like, wait a minute, I go to Costco every week. There's no gold bars in Costco. You're right, there is. Could you imagine if there was? How much more there's? I know, but online only. But Jason, I think it speaks volumes of the perception and how quickly it is changing just in the last 20 years. Obviously, the price of gold, right, $250, $300 to $2,000, right? That doesn't hurt. But more and more regular people out there recognize, hey, you know what? I need to have something other than dollars. I need to have something other than stocks. I need to have something other than bonds. And the fact of the matter, it'd be one thing. It'd be incredible if they said, yeah, we sold $100 million in a quarter. Right? That would be incredible enough. No, they really sold $100 million. Forget about even 30 days. Because it kept selling out. Every time they put it on, in an hour or two, it was gone.
Well.
I mean, I think, Jason, this is something where when we talk about why is it, and we talked all these technical reasons, right? Well, they're going to cut rates. They got the continuing resolutions. Congress, look at what they did with the defense bill. They keep spending and spending and spending. Debts keep rising. We're going to run out of the repo money and all this other stuff. But you know what? The one thing we really haven't talked about? Demand from everyday people is through the roof.
Well, let's look at Costco just for a second, Joe. Why is Costco, well, first of all, why do they possess it? And second of all, why are they selling it? Why do I get the feeling that every ounce that they sold in this quarter leading up to the end of the year will then be turned around and they'll be purchasing it again in the first quarter of 2024, Joe? If that stuff's sitting on their balance sheets, they pay taxes. So they probably bought it earlier this year when it was cheaper. Now they're dumping it before the end of the tax year. And now guess what's going to happen to gold and silver prices if guys like Walmart and Costco want to fill up the bin again next year? How much is it going to be just in January if you wait to buy gold versus buying it today, right, Joe?
800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. Eight 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason here on this Monday. $20 gold pieces, $22.75. Silver half dollar rolls of 20, $205. 25 rolls or more, $200. U.S. Silver Eagles, a roll is $610. A roll at 20. If you buy a case, which is 25 rolls or 500 ounces, say $5 a roll at $15,125. But Jason, again, I think it says a lot. More and more people waking up every single day to the fact of, wait a minute, I didn't know, I didn't realize how fiat currency is supposed to work. Fiat currency is supposed to go to zero. I mean, that's just what it does. What do you mean it's supposed to go to zero? Because that's what our money system is. It's fiat money system. The full faith and credit. Well, yeah, but the problem is they always want to keep printing more money because that's how it works. Unfortunately, right, how does Wall Street go up? Well, you got to print a lot more money all the time. And that's how it works. And then eventually, you print so much money, things start changing. Like right now, we probably knew at $5 trillion that we weren't going to pay off the debt. Remember the last time anyone talked about paying off the debt? It was the mid-'90s Alan Greenspan saying, don't worry about Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid because we're going to have the debt paid off by 2010 and look at all the money we're going to save on interest. Fast forward to 2024, fiscal year 2024, the government's going to spend $1 trillion on interest alone in a single year. But I think, Jason, at least when the financial crisis rolled around, everyone knew, okay, we're probably never going to pay it back. And now the numbers are so ridiculous, right? We're really, between the Fed and the government, we're now over $40 trillion, right? You just get ridiculous. And you look at spending now, right? Oh, we're running $2 trillion budget. Well, Well, what's 3 trillion? Or how about 4 trillion? And people start to realize, wait a minute, I'm not getting richer. I'm getting poorer. Could you imagine if you're making the same amount of money today as you did 10 years ago, how much harder it is to get by in America today? Right? No wonder why homelessness is at an all-time record high. No wonder why so many people out there, right? A record amount of people having to work multiple jobs. Jason, it's because slowly but surely, right, the fiat dollar is getting ready to go to zero. That's really what we're talking about. We're going to get something new, aren't we? Something digital.
Even if it doesn't go to zero right away, it's going down very quickly. All you have to do is find any chart on the internet about the value of the dollar, and you watch this big line dropping down to nothing, you know, especially since the 1970s and starting in 1913, right, Joe? And it's just dropping off the cliff. That's why you buy gold and silver. You put it in a safe place, holds its value, and gold and silver's doing nothing but going up because the dollar is going down, Joe.
800-951-0592. Jason and I were coming right back with the Half Empty Cup.